Hey everybody, welcome to Omnis Technologies. I'm here with Hunter Ford. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. We're set up remotely today due to the COVID-19 crisis we're all going through. We thought it'd be a good time. Well, we actually talked about doing this last week, but now under the circumstances, it's even more relevant. So we're working from home. Luckily, we're set up here pretty well. We just want to talk about how the steps you can take if your company is transitioning into working remotely, what kind of software and hardware you need from an IT perspective. And we're going to talk about VPNs. We're going to talk about the web browser apps. So if you're used to using Microsoft software that's stored locally in your computer, we want to quickly cover the web-based apps you can use, a little bit of cloud things, and finally, we talk about some online communication and some apps that we use and we recommend to stay in touch with your coworkers while we're all working from home. So Hunter, let's start off with VPNs, virtual private networks. Explain how those work for us.
Yep. So a virtual private network or a VPN works in that it creates a secure connection from your device on your home network to your business's network. It just basically you're acting as if you're on that network through a secure connection over the internet, usually encrypted in some way. This is usually a feature built into the router that you have on site, or there are software solutions for it, but on the good VPN solutions I know of are mostly where it's built into your router.
Okay. So check your router settings. Is it as easy as set up VPN, hit the switch kind of thing?
Not always, because basically what you're doing is you're connecting to a IP address, but it has to be a public IP address. So it has to be unique on the internet, or it's not like a unique IP on your network. So that's a little bit of setup, and not all routers are capable of VPN.
Okay.
They don't all have it built in, but business level routers should have the option for VPN.
Sure.
We use Zexel, we've used Cisco. These solutions on average have VPN solutions built in. They usually have a monthly fee or a yearly fee and a certain amount of licensing to connect, which is something usually you'll want to research when you're implementing your router or purchasing a router. It's something you want to look into. A lot of people probably have routers capable of it if they are running a business and have the need for a business level router.
Okay. And then what are the software solutions if somebody doesn't have a new router and not able to get one right now? There are software solutions too, right?
For the most part, when it comes to a software solution for accessing a network, I mostly look towards remote desktop solutions.
Okay.
So I usually push towards Chrome Remote Desktop. There's a lot of third-party remote desktop solutions. We use a remote desktop solution called FixMe for our remote support. There's all sorts. There's a lot of remote desktop solutions, and for the most part, you can find reviews and information for them on the internet. The nice thing about Chrome Remote Desktop is it is a Chrome extension. It's free and it's encrypted.
Okay. And that's put out by Google itself. It's not.
Yep.
It's
That is a first party built by Google. I use it personally. I see it. I've had to implement it for some of our clients even over the past few days, and they've been
okay.
I haven't had too many complaints.
Okay. So that's the kind of thing that you can get up and running in just a few minutes.
Yeah, you set it up on the computer you're remoting into, and you set it up on the device you're going to access it from. And the setup on the device you're going to access it from is just getting the extension installed in Chrome.
Sure.
And it's secure because even if you were to lose your Gmail account, or if it were to get, if your Gmail account were to get compromised, the PIN you have to set a PIN when you set up remote desktop, and you cannot reset that PIN unless you are on that device physically. So even if someone were to get into your account, they won't be able to get that PIN.
Okay. And so the idea for remote desktop, then, even if it is a Chrome extension, is you can still, it's like you're sitting at your office computer. You can still see all your files
Correct.
and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
And what's also nice with that is if it's implemented pretty widely with your network, if you need to assist somebody else, they actually have like it's a support sort of thing where if you have remote desktop and you need help from someone else, you can give them a client ID to remote into your computer to help you.
Okay. And so another concern off that, if you're having all of your coworkers suddenly remote, but your office for that where your files are stored only gets so much internet power to it, right? Bandwidth.
Mhm.
So is that a concern that everybody's going to be taking up more of that bandwidth as they access these, they're accessing the office remotely?
It depends on your volume of workers. Like if you're seeing a large shift to work from home, which a lot of companies are, bandwidth will definitely become an issue if you don't have solid bandwidth for your business. Because the way it works is for every VPN user on that network, you're kind of splitting up the bandwidth evenly between all of them. But
Mhm.
then bandwidth is still being used on site for obviously for like downloads and uploads and things like that. So you want to make sure you have a large enough pool of bandwidth that there's minimal impact. There's obviously going to be some slowness because you are accessing uh, the network over the internet. And especially for those who, if someone has a slow internet connection at home, they'll see that impact will be greater to
Yep.
the point where in our area where we live, there's a lot of people still on DSL. Those people will not be able to utilize VPN. Their home internet is not fast
Yeah.
because it takes a certain amount of bandwidth from your home network and a certain amount of bandwidth from your work network. A lot of companies right now are offering increases in bandwidth for minimal cost. So
Okay.
it is something
That's
you can
cool.
deal with pretty well. A local provider, Zito, here is doing it. They basically offered it for free since they know so many companies are going to be impacted by this.
And that's also something that can happen pretty quickly too if you decide to upgrade your bandwidth. That's
Hmm.
pretty much just hitting a switch on for them, right?
Yeah, it's just them allocating more resources to your specific connection.
So it's not like they have to send somebody out to
It
upgrade
de-
anything or
it depends on there are hardware
okay.
like limitations. If let's say the line to a certain business is older, it can only take so much bandwidth.
Sure.
So, but we're seeing fiber in a lot of areas, so it really is just a flip of a switch. If you have fiber to your business, it's going to be a flip of a switch to really upgrade that, unless you're somehow maxing out fiber.
Okay. So let's get into what it's like to work from home and what solutions um, people can have with web-based apps. So we'll just touch
Hmm.
on it briefly. We're going to make another video that goes in depth into things like the Google apps and Office
Office
365.
365. Yep. So what's nice about these solutions is they're completely cloud-based. So as long as you have a web browser, you can access them basically, and you'll get the same functionality as you did on site. Google Apps and Office 365. Obviously, on site you might have for Office 365 specifically, you might have Office installed to
Mhm.
access these applications. But what's nice is you can install these on if you're let's say you're forced to work from a personal device, you can install them on there and you can restore yourself to that same functionality, or you can still do everything from your
Okay. And and then as we're talking about apps, we want to mention some communication apps so we can keep
browser.
everybody on the same page, looped in. So right now we're talking on an app called Zoom.
Hmm.
It's a freemium app, but we're using the free version right now. And this is cool to do face-to-face chats like this.
You can do screen sharing and everything too.
Yep, screen sharing is really easy. You just click a button.
Uh,
Um,
if you have Office 365, you more than likely have access to Microsoft Teams, which is
yep.
something we personally use at Omnis for. It's what our phone system is through and everything. It's how we make phone calls. Um, and then there's Google Hangouts through the Google App Suite. which is it's a pretty simple video sharing tool, but it has, video calls, audio calls. You can share your screen. There's text chats, all that stuff.
Yep.
Uh, and then we have Slack. Slack, of course, is used by many businesses already. It has video and audio calls. It has screen sharing. I would say the kind of meeting aspect parts of it are probably a little weaker than some of these other apps,
Mm-hmm.
especially Teams. Teams has a lot of built-in stuff for meetings, where Slack is more like you just start a call and you can add people to it, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh, Microsoft Teams is basically the replacement of Skype in the business sense. It has a lot of the same features as Skype, but Skype is still available and is still widely used.
Yep.
Uh,
And the video part of it isn't like required. So
mhm.
for Zoom, at least, you have a call-in number. You can just call in from your phone
Yep.
and participate that way. If you
Teams
don't
has
have
that
a
same
webcam.
options as well. If let's say someone does have DSL and they can't really get on video or audio calls in that way, they can call in using their cell phone number for, like you said, for Zoom calls. You can do that, and you can also do that for Teams. The one other app I would suggest is a free app called Discord.
Mm-hmm.
They actually just pushed out. They basically extended. They had a limit on video and screen sharing, which I think they've like doubled the length of it. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but it's while it is a free non business app, it's very easy to set up in a pinch, especially if you're just doing calls over it. It's very safe, and it's a very good messaging sort of app.
Cool. Thanks. So that's where we're at here. We'll probably be doing these for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any questions, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. Email, what's our email? Tech support at omnistech.com.
Correct. Yep.
Yep, you can get in touch with Hunter or the other technicians over at Omnis. Let us know if you have any questions. We're all in this together. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Stay safe. Bye bye.